26 people have been sentenced to death in 2024. Jason Allen Thornburg, Texas. For the murders and dismemberments of 3 individuals in Fort Worth, Texas, Thornburg received a death sentence. The murders he committed were allegedly motivated by his reading and interpretation of the Bible, which led him to commit sacrifices to God. Thornburg was an apprentice electrician at the time. The first murder was thought to have occurred sometime between September 15 and September 17, when Thornburg killed 42-year-old David Lueras, who had been staying at an inn since July 2021 and shared a room with Thornburg. However, the precise date of the death was not made public. Thornburg sliced Lueras' throat before chopping up the body and even eating a portion of his heart. Thornburg would kill 2 more women, 32-year-old Maricruz Matis and 34-year-old Lauren Phillips, during the course of the 4 days after Lueras' murder. According to Thornburg, 2 days after killing Lueras, he slashed the neck of one of the female victims and strangled and stabbed the other 2 days after killing the first female victim. Thornburg also mutilated the women's bodies and stored their body parts in a storage bin after each killing. In addition, he committed by eating some of the woman's body part and even had relations with Phillips's corpse before he dismembered it. Following the 3 killings, Thornburg took the body pieces to a neighboring dumpster on September 22, 2021 and burned them. Residents and authorities were alerted by the fire, which resulted in Thornburg's arrest. He took full responsibility for the serial killings and also admitted to 2 more murders while he was being held in custody for these ones. One in Arizona in 2017 and another in May 2021. Thornburg had carried out the murders for sacrificial motives, same as the Fort Worth serial killings in 2021. In the 2017 case, Tanya Begay, Thornburg's 37-year-old girlfriend, and a Navajo woman from Gallup, New Mexico, went missing in March 2017 after she and Thornburg went on a trip to Arizona and never came back. Between March 3, 2017 and March 13, 2017, Thornburg was accused of killing Begay at an unidentified site in the Navajo Nation in Arizona. The victim of the May 2021 case was Mark Jewell, 61, Thornburg's former roommate, who perished in a Fort Worth, Texas home fire. Thornburg had admitted to cutting Jewell's throat, unplugging a natural gas line, and lighting a candle, which resulted in the fire that is said to have killed Jewell. Following this admission, on February 18, 2022, a different grand jury indicted Thornburg separately on charges of Jewell's murder and arson. Thornburg was named as a suspect in Jewell's murder prior to his arrest for the September 2021 serial killings, but he was not taken into custody until the serial killings occurred because of insufficient evidence. Jeremy Tremaine Williams, Alabama. He is on death row for the murder of 5-year-old Cameron Holland. In a sick twist of events, the little girl was in fact sold to Williams by her own mother for relations. The woman charged $2,500 for 1 hour with the toddler. Christy Hoskins, Cameron's grandmother, had reported her missing from their Columbus, Georgia home before the little girl passed away. Officers from the Columbus Police Department discovered Cameron's body with evidence of asphyxiation and decay in the abandoned house where Williams had lived. The child's mother, Christy Sipple, was charged with human trafficking. She faces up to 20 years in prison, but I think she should be facing the death penalty as well. Williams had been implicated in at least one other child abuse case in Alabama prior to this conviction. He was accused of child abuse in Phoenix City in 2009, but was acquitted by a jury in 2012. Jerome Rogers, California. Jerome Anthony Rogers, 68, was charged with strangling Mary Beth Blasky, 76, at her house on Fremontia Drive on November 14, 2012, and Wanda Lee Paulin, 86, on North Mountain View Avenue on December 12, 2010. He was a local handyman at that time. In 2013, Rogers was charged with Blasky's killing and essay. Her 2001 Lexus was gone and her house had been looted. In a house where Rogers was sleeping, several other objects thought to have been stolen from her home were discovered. DNA evidence connected Rogers to the crime. He told detectives that he knew Paulin and that she had been killed while he was incarcerated. Rings were stolen off Paulin's fingers and her house had also been robbed. In December 2012, around the time of the second murder, Tipsters would report seeing Rogers with objects they believed were inadequate for him. DNA evidence also linked him to Pauline's murder. I really don't understand why it took so long for him to be sentenced to death. It's been years since the murders. Jerry Don Elders, Texas. Elders is on death row for murdering 61-year-old Robin Waddell while on the run from police back in 2021. Following an hours-long manhunt that started with the shooting of Burleson police officer Joshua Lott and the abduction and killing of Waddell, Elders was taken into custody in Gainesville on April 14, 2021. According to Burleson police in 2021, Elders shot Lott during a traffic stop just before dawn while he was with a group of other people. After leaving that car, the three men allegedly carjacked Waddell outside the house in the 8000 block of County Road 802. Waddell arrived to the Joshua Police Department with gunshot wounds at 8:44 a.m. She passed away in the hospital. Jose Vladimir Larin Garcia, California. 24-year-old Jose Larin Garcia was sentenced to death for a 2019 shooting that resulted in 4 murders. On February 3, 2019, shortly after midnight, Palm Springs police received reports of gunfire on East Sunny Dunes Road where a car had collided with a wall in front of a house. The bodies of Juan Duarte Raya, 18, Jacob Montgomery, 19, and Juliana Garcia, 17, were discovered inside. Campos Rivera, 25, was discovered dead on Cannon Drive, a few blocks away. They had all been shot dead. Larin Garcia was apprehended the next day at an Indio bus stop. According to the police, a friend bought him a Florida ticket using a false identity. Larin Garcia had taken the 3 victims to Campos Rivera's house where he had made arrangements to buy tablets from one of the other passengers. During the exchange, Campos Rivera was shot and killed by Larin Garcia. After the car drove off, Larin Garcia shot the driver and killed the 3 passengers in the car before leaping out. Officers discovered Larin Garcia hiding beneath a truck next to the wrecked vehicle where he had taken off some clothes. After being brought to the hospital, he fled that evening and remained unaccounted for until being apprehended at the bus stop. Joseph David Hurd, Mississippi. Hurd, 41, was condemned to death just 1 day after being found guilty of the capital murder of his 2-year-old stepson, Hayden Lee Bataille. In January 2022, Joseph and his 24-year-old wife, Haley Lynn Hurd, were initially arrested following the discovery of Hayden's body in Biloxi on December 27, 2021. When Haley called 911 at 6 in the morning after discovering her kid unconscious and speculating that he may have drowned in the bathtub, officials were initially alerted to the situation. Following his transfer to a nearby hospital, the toddler was declared deceased. The couple was first detained and charged with felony child abuse, but according to police documents, the boy had several bruises all over his body and a broken bone that was consistent with torture. As a result, the charge was raised to capital murder. Haley acknowledged that Joseph repeatedly punched the boy while holding him by the arms with one hand. In order to silence the boy's screams, Haley covered his mouth. Hayden soiled his diaper in the hours before she called 911, and he waited too long to fetch a juice box from the kitchen. Joseph lost his temper because of this and started repeatedly hitting the child in the head and chest. In the months before the murder, Joseph was Hayden's primary caregiver. He would make the toddler sit on a potty training seat for hours on end. He would use a spatula to pop blisters from a second-degree burn on his hand and frequently boast about beating the child to Haley via text messages. Haley agreed to testify against Joseph and pled guilty to a reduced charge of first-degree murder. She is incarcerated in the Mississippi Department of Corrections for life. Julio Rivera, Florida. After serving over 25 years in prison for murder in New York, Rivera was released on probation and went to Florida, where he murdered Roberto Ovalle, his childhood friend. On December 8, 2019, Julio Rivera, 52, shot Roberto Ovalle, 40, in the efficiency living space that had been converted from a storage unit of High Banks Road. Ovalle was a drug dealer who kept heroin and Mary Jane in the storage unit where he allowed his childhood pal Rivera to reside. Rivera had violated his probation and was wanted in New York. Prosecutors claimed that Rivera had been offended by Ovalle. Rivera inquired as to what he would gain from a trip to New York, which Ovalle was organizing. Ovalle remained silent, later saying he would gain the fact that he will continue to be allowed to remain in the storage container. Rivera shot him in the head shortly after that. On August 29, 1993, Rivera robbed a store in New York. He was taken into custody and appeared in court for the offense. Next, he shot someone in the hand while robbing them on October 24, 1993. He then carried out another heist on December 11, 1993, killing the victim this time. After 24 years in prison, he was released on February 19, 2019. He killed his friend shortly after that. This man belongs behind bars. He should have never been released. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye bye.